Diabetes is often described simply as high blood sugar. But this explanation is incomplete and hides what is really happening inside the body. Diabetes is a problem of communication between food, insulin, and the cells that need energy to survive. Every time a person eats, carbohydrates are transformed into glucose, which should travel through the bloodstream and enter the cells to be used as fuel. Insulin is the hormone responsible for delivering this message and allowing glucose to enter. In people with diabetes, this communication fails. Either the body does not produce enough insulin, or the cells do not respond to it properly. As a result, glucose remains in the blood, instead of being converted into energy. This is why many people feel tired, thirsty, or weak without understanding the reason. Emotionally, this creates fear and confusion, because the person sees changes in the body, but does not know what is causing them. Understanding how diabetes works in the body is the first step to regaining control, because it shows that the problem does not start with sugar itself, but with how the body handles glucose and insulin every day. When a healthy person eats, the digestive system breaks food into glucose, which enters the bloodstream and signals the pancreas to release insulin. Insulin works like a key that opens the doors of the cells, so glucose can go inside and be used as energy. In diabetes, this system does not work as it should. In some cases, the body produces little or no insulin. In other cases, insulin is present, but the cells resist its action. This means the key exists, but the lock does not open. Because of this, glucose cannot enter the cells and stays circulating in the blood. Instead of becoming energy, it becomes excess sugar in the bloodstream. This explains why people with diabetes can eat and still feel weak or exhausted. Their cells are starving for fuel, while the blood is overloaded with glucose. Using simple images like doors, keys, and fuel helps make this process easy to imagine and understand. This accumulation of blood sugar is what leads to symptoms such as frequent urination, constant thirst, and blurred vision. And it is the main reason diabetes must be controlled every day. High blood sugar does not stay only in the blood. Over time, it affects almost every part of the body. Excess glucose damages blood vessels, making circulation weaker and slower. It also harms nerves, which can cause tingling, pain, or loss of sensation, especially in the feet and hands. The kidneys suffer because they work harder to filter the excess sugar, increasing the risk of kidney disease. The eyes are also affected, because fragile blood vessels in the retina can be damaged, leading to vision problems and even blindness. The heart and brain are at risk as well, since high glucose levels increase inflammation and the chance of heart attacks and strokes. When a person eats, the journey of sugar inside the body begins immediately. Food is broken down in the stomach and intestines into smaller particles, and carbohydrates are transformed into glucose, which enters the bloodstream. This is the moment when the body should turn food into energy. In a healthy body, the pancreas releases insulin, and insulin acts like a key. The cells of the body are like houses with locked doors, and glucose is the fuel that needs to go inside. Insulin opens these doors and allows glucose to enter the cells, where it is burned as energy to move muscles, power the brain, and keep organs working. Everything flows smoothly when this system works well. But in diabetes, this process changes. The key may be missing, or the lock may be damaged. Either the body does not produce enough insulin, or the cells do not respond to it properly. As a result, glucose cannot enter the cells and stays trapped. in the blood instead of becoming usable energy. This is why diabetes is not just about eating sugar, but about what happens after eating. Even a normal meal can cause blood sugar to rise if insulin is not working correctly. The cells remain hungry for energy, while the blood becomes overloaded with glucose. It is like having a car with a full tank of fuel, but a broken engine. The fuel is there, but it cannot be used. Over time, this excess sugar circulating in the blood starts to create problems. It thickens the blood, irritates the blood vessels, and forces organs like the kidneys to work harder to remove it. This accumulation is also what causes common symptoms, such as intense thirst, frequent urination, tiredness, and blurred vision. The body is trying to get rid of something it cannot use. Using simple images, like doors, keys, and fuel helps transform a technical concept into something easy to picture. Every meal becomes a test of how well this system is working. If insulin opens the doors, glucose becomes energy. If it does not, sugar stays in the bloodstream and slowly creates damage. Understanding this path of sugar inside the body helps people realize that diabetes is not an instant problem, but a daily process that repeats itself at every meal. And this is exactly why controlling blood sugar is so important. It is not about avoiding food, but about helping the body use glucose correctly, turning it into energy instead of letting it become a silent threat inside the blood. High blood glucose does not stay only inside the blood. Over time, it starts to affect almost every part of the body in a silent and progressive way. When too much sugar circulates in the bloodstream, it damages the walls of the blood vessels, making them weaker and less flexible. These vessels are responsible for carrying oxygen and nutrients to organs and tissues. So when they are harmed, the entire system begins to suffer. The nerves are also affected, especially in the hands and feet, causing tingling, numbness, or pain. The kidneys, which filter the blood every minute, are forced to work harder to remove the excess glucose, and little by little they can lose their ability to clean the blood properly. This means that what started as high blood sugar slowly turns into a problem that reaches the whole body. The eyes are another sensitive target of high glucose levels. Tiny blood vessels inside the retina can become fragile and leak, affecting vision and, in severe cases, leading to blindness. The heart is also placed under constant stress because damaged blood vessels increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes. What makes this process dangerous is that it often happens without immediate pain. Many people feel normal while damage is happening inside. This is why diabetes is known as a silent disease. The body may not send strong warning signals at first, but the harm continues day after day. This creates an emotional impact, because it shows that ignoring blood sugar today can mean facing serious consequences in the future. Even if nothing hurts right now, understanding what high glucose causes in the body changes the way people see their test results. Blood sugar is not just a number on a screen or a paper. It represents how much stress the organs are under at that moment. Keeping glucose under control is not about perfection, but about protection. Every time blood sugar stays closer to normal, the blood vessels, nerves, kidneys, eyes, and heart are safer. This perspective helps people realize that daily care is an act of self-preservation. Managing diabetes is not only about avoiding symptoms, but about defending the body from long-term damage. When a person understands this, control becomes a form of respect for their own future health. not just a medical recommendation. What a person eats every day has a direct effect on how blood sugar behaves inside the body. Each meal becomes a signal that tells glucose how fast it will rise and how hard insulin will need to work. Foods rich in refined carbohydrates and sugar enter the bloodstream quickly, causing a sharp spike in glucose. In contrast, meals with fiber, protein, and healthy fats slow down digestion and help glucose rise more gradually. This shows that diabetes is not controlled only by medication, but also by daily food choices. The body reacts to every plate of food like a message, and that message can either support stable blood sugar or create sudden increases that are harder to manage. Understanding this connection turns eating into an active part of diabetes management. Instead of just a routine habit, habits beyond food also play an important role in glucose control. Physical activity helps muscles use glucose as energy, reducing the amount that stays in the bloodstream. Even small movements during the day can improve how insulin works. Meal timing matters as well, because long gaps without eating or very late meals can disturb glucose balance. Sleep is another key factor, since poor rest affects hormones that regulate appetite and insulin sensitivity. When sleep is irregular, blood sugar becomes harder to control. This means that diabetes is influenced not only by what is eaten, but by how a person lives. The body responds to patterns of behavior, and repeated habits shape how glucose behaves over time. Daily routines quietly guide blood sugar levels in one direction or another. When people realize that their choices influence glucose, they begin to see that they are not powerless. Small adjustments can help the body work more efficiently, even with diabetes. Choosing better carbohydrates, organizing meal schedules, staying active, and sleeping well are not extreme actions, but practical steps that protect blood sugar stability. This creates identification, because everyone has meals, routines, and rest periods. Diabetes management becomes part of real life, not just a medical instruction. The connection between food, habits, and glucose control shows that the disease is affected by everyday behavior. Each decision sends a signal to the body about how it should handle sugar. Over time, these signals build either a path of balance or a path of difficulty, making daily care a central tool for long-term health. Understanding how diabetes works inside the body gives a person more control over their own future. Knowledge does not remove the disease, but it changes how decisions are made every day. When someone understands how glucose, insulin, and cells interact, food and habits stop being random and start becoming strategic. This awareness turns routine actions into conscious choices. Instead of reacting only when blood sugar is already high, the person begins to anticipate what will happen inside the body. This creates a sense of autonomy, because the individual is no longer confused about what is happening internally. Diabetes becomes something that can be managed with intention rather than fear. Learning how the body responds builds confidence and reduces uncertainty, allowing each meal and habit to be part of a clear plan instead of a guess. The future of a body with diabetes is strongly influenced by daily decisions. Every choice about food, movement, and rest sends a message to the bloodstream and the organs. These messages accumulate over time, shaping how the body adapts to the condition. Responsibility appears here not as a burden, but as an opportunity to protect what still works well. At the same time, hope grows from the understanding that better outcomes are possible when actions are aligned with knowledge. Living with diabetes does not mean giving up quality of life, but learning how to guide the body in a healthier direction. This balance between responsibility and optimism shows that the condition can be managed with awareness and consistency, rather than with panic or denial. This closing idea brings together everything explained before. Diabetes is not just about blood sugar numbers, but about how the body uses energy, how organs are affected, and how habits influence this process. When a person understands these connections, each daily action gains meaning. Choosing what to eat, when to eat, how to move, and how to rest becomes part of protecting the body from future complications. This perspective prepares the audience to continue learning and improving. The message is clear. Understanding the body leads to better control, and better control leads to a healthier future. Awareness becomes the bridge between information and action, turning knowledge into a practical tool for living better with diabetes. If you stayed with me until this point, it means this conversation made sense to you and connected with your reality. So if this kind of explanation helps you understand your body better, subscribing to the channel is a simple way to keep learning with me in the next videos. You can also leave a comment saying this message was for me, so I know you made it to the end and that this topic reached you. And if this video helped you see diabetes in a clearer way, a like is just a small sign of that connection we built here today. There is another video right next to this one that complements what we talked about. So click there and keep going with me, because this journey of understanding your body is just getting started.